Hello, 2023. Hello, you guys. Welcome to the new year. Woo! It's January 2nd while I'm recording this, and I feel like today is actually January 1st. I feel like yesterday we all just were hanging out at home. We were chilling. We were easing into the new year, and today feels like it's January 1st. But hi, hello, welcome to 2022. Welcome back to Life is a Vibe. I'm your host, Adriana Ramos, and I'm so happy to be here. I wanted to record this episode and get it out before the end of 2022. But honestly, I really was just feeling like resting, not creating content. I took some time for myself. And now that 2022 is over, I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about all the things. Let's spill the tea on my year, and we can also talk about 2023. So this is going to be kind of like a two-part episode. This episode today that you guys are listening to is going to be like my 2022 kind of lessons learned, things like that, in hopes that you can relate to it or see some similarities, or maybe this is going to be something that you go through this year. Just really wanted to do a deep dive, and I have like my reflection up here, and so just gonna go over my year and recap it all. And then next week's episode is gonna be hi 2023, here's the vibe, here's how we're feeling, like let's rock and roll. So that's what you have to look forward to these next 2 weeks. I still find that it's great to still talk about 2022. I feel like when the year ends, people are like, all right, we're moving on. But I'm like, I'd rather take my time, you know? I've also been seeing like a lot of discourse around like the year seasonally hasn't really changed because we're still in this winter time, right? And that when spring happens, that's when like the nature year kind of begins, which I like that. That's feeling good to me, to recognize like, hey, we're still in winter. This is a really good time to really plant some seeds, get really solid in your foundation with your year and your routines and everything like that. And then when spring comes, like, boom, go, go, go. We're moving, we're grooving, whatever, you know? So that is what you can look forward to in today's episode. I'm so happy to have you here. If we want to just kind of come together into this space, we're going to take 3 deep breaths together and then go ahead and dive in. So go ahead and close your eyes if you want to, but we will go ahead and take those 3 deep breaths together. So go ahead and take that first inhale in and exhale it back out. Second one in and exhale it back out. Last one in. Hold it. Release in 3, 2, 1. Exhale it back out. Alrighty. I'll do a little life update. I'll save a little bit of the juice for next week's episode, but I am feeling really good. My family came for Christmas, and it was really great to have them in Austin. I know there's been all these travel things and whatnot going on. Mercury is in retrograde, and she is definitely pulling out all the stops. I've been seeing a lot of travel things. I've been hearing about a lot of X things with my friends. So I have been fine. I've been chilling. Christmas was really great with my family. And, you know, this past week, I really just allowed myself to just like be and like do a little bit of work, but not put too much pressure on myself. Same thing. I took a little bit of a social media break with Christmas just to be with family. And it really just encapsulated what this year has been for me. This 2022 year has been for me. So I'm excited to kind of just like talk about it and also talk about like how I'm feeling. But today I feel really good. I did feel this little bit of like Monday pressure to start like doing all of the things, but I was able to like chill myself out. Everything will get done in its own time. And if I learned anything from 2022, like it's all going to be fine. Which I feel like is just a recurring theme in my life. So all in all, I'm feeling great going into this year. I feel great going into this week, going into this month. I'm setting myself up for some great success. I haven't like fully sat down to do my 2023 goals. I think that's going to be something for later on this week when I just feel I think, more mental clarity to do it. And I also have not set goals for January. I have my theme for 2023, which I'll talk about in that next episode. January is feeling like just like the word routine is just coming up for me, like getting really solid in my routines, putting the action, being who I want to be, like just really getting a good footing of every different area of my life that I want to focus on. So like health, fitness, finances, things like that, and just really setting myself up for success so I can be rocking and rolling the rest of the year. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. You know, I am juggling a lot on my plate, so I'm trying to figure out what feels best between coaching, freelancing, and then also Vibe with AIDS stuff, which is my other page. So we're all figuring it out. We're going to see what feels good. I really want to get solid in routines. The only other goal that's coming to mind for me for January is continuing to learn more about human design. I'm currently going through a course right now on human design so I can be a reader and tie in human design with my business and with my clients. So I really want to hammer through some of that material. That way I can start doing some readings and doing some fun things. And I definitely want to do an episode on human design. For those that don't know, it is a system that is based off of astrology, numerology, and some other things. And I would love to do a podcast episode about it. But you have different types and things like that where it's kind of like a personality assessment in a way. However, I find it way more satisfying because it tells you like, okay, this is the energy you have within you. Here's how to leverage it, right? Or you have these types of capabilities and skills within you. Here's how you can implement it. It just takes it a lot further than just like astrology, in my opinion. So that's a goal of mine, is to work through some of that material. That way I can start incorporating it and putting it within content, because I find it so beneficial, especially when it comes to routines, productivity, and just like your overall path and vision and whatnot. So I'm very much looking forward to that in the month of January, just diving into that and testing some things out with clients and whatnot. But that's really all that's coming up for me for January. Like, I just don't want to put so much pressure on myself to do all of these things. And like, I feel like as I'm getting older, my long list of resolutions is just like not a thing anymore. And now we're just doing intentions, which I will talk about when we get to the 2023 episode. But yeah, I haven't even sat down to think about my goals or intentions with 2023, basically because what I learned in 2022. So let's go ahead and just move on to that, and let's talk about my 2022. So it's actually funny. I found a Google Doc and these were the goals that I had for 2022. I had themed my year the year of power, which manifested in some ways. Didn't manifest in the way I thought, but it manifested in ways for sure. So what I wanted more of in 2022 was more fun, love, growth, money, abundance, and confidence, which I feel like that's pretty true. I said when I look back on 2022, I want to describe this year as the year I embrace my power. Oh, that's pretty spot on. What does the life of your dreams look like in 2022? Working every day towards the best version of myself and helping others do the same, doing things that make me feel good and align with my highest self, expressing myself creatively and being able to pursue creative passions without a worry of financial limitations, connecting with and feeling supported by like-minded individuals, growing with the person I love, and supporting each other as we grow and learn and pursue our dreams. Oh, I love that. I also said I want to quit playing safe. I want to try new things, content, recipes, programs, outfits. I want to start a fluid but fulfilling routine. I want to stop over consuming alcohol, social media, food, self-loathing, self-doubt. Wow. I want to learn investing for my future, crypto, stocks, NFTs, Web3. Kind of did that. I want to have abundance and confidence in myself and in my future. Yes. I want to continue giving myself grace. I want to be me. Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm just looking over some of the other goals. So I wanted to be intentional when I start my day, having more grace, be a better partner, check in with friends and family more, plan friend dates, continue to grow coaching business, launch a new group coaching program, which I did, launch a course. I did. Wow. With Vibe with 8, stay consistent with content, brand collaborations. Yep. One new festival, one new place. I don't think I hit that one. Make more time for video games, shuffling, DJing, going outside, read 1 book a month. I did read 12 books. They weren't each a month, but I did read 12 books. Create routines that work for me, save more money, invest money. Honestly, I might copy and paste some of these because this works. And then I think for some of these, I actually hit, not with Find Your Vibe. I set a goal to have 20K on TikTok, and I hit that for Vibe with Aid. I was close on Instagram. I said 12K on YouTube. That was a big stretch goal. I hit 10K on YouTube for Vibe with Aid. Get stronger in the gym, fuel my body, prioritize my gut and hormone health, create more than consume, save money. Okay. Well, that was enlightening. And you know what? I'm very proud of that because I feel like that was a yes. And there was a couple of goals that maybe I didn't hit, but it's okay. And so with my 2022, when I coined it the term power, I was just thinking about becoming this powerhouse of like a coach, a mentor, a social media person when it comes to the coaching business. Like I really wanted to start branding myself as this go-to person, right? And I think I did that in some ways, but where I really found power in 2022 and where I found my power was taking everything off of my plate. I took off freelancing. I took off this other podcast I did. I started saying no to things. And I really found that power in just setting these boundaries for myself and also really tuning in to like, is this a full body yes for me to do or is it a no? Because of that generator, because I'm a generator in human design, from what I learned, I get lit up when I'm doing the things that my sacral authority is like, yes, we're doing this, you know? And so diving into that human design really helped me kind of gut check on things to see like, is this fulfilling? Is this not fulfilling? How am I feeling when I do these things? And so slowly but surely, I have taken so much off of my plate. Like I took off some freelancing opportunities. I stopped doing a podcast with a friend. I stopped drinking, which was a big highlight of mine from the year. I also got rid of my IUD, my copper IUD. Like I really started to find my power in being able to choose what feels best for me and cultivate my life around it. Which, what's more powerful than that, right? So there's that part of it. And then I also really dug deep this year to find a power that was not rooted in hate, in self-loathing, in not feeling like I was good enough, because all of the things I had done up until this point, you know, I've had so much success in my life, which I'm so proud of myself for. But it was coming from a place of feeling like I had to prove myself, feeling like I was not good enough, feeling like I hated myself. So I needed to do things that would hopefully make me love myself, which were not those things, you know? And it really allowed me to find how can I be motivated and how can I keep taking action when I actually genuinely like myself and I love myself. Like, how does that feel to come from that place versus coming from such a charged, I hate myself and don't love myself, so I'm going to do all of these things in hopes that it fixes it, right? And some of you may relate to that. Some of you may be in this phase where you don't necessarily love yourself, but you're still doing these things in hopes that something works, right? In hopes that your life changes, in hopes that you feel better about yourself. And it's hard to come back from that. I mean, we're talking years and years. Honestly, for the majority of my life, I was stuck in that. And this whole journey, honestly, since 2020, you know, I did a whole podcast episode on my story. 2020, when I got broken up with, I was like, all right, we got to work on this. We got to figure this out. We got to figure out How can we love ourselves? How can we accept ourselves? How can we embrace ourselves? How could we feel that we're good enough? And that's when the work really started. And 2020 was a year of massive changes and massive reflection and just doing things and trying things out and realizing my purpose. 2021 was about implementing and just starting and going for it. It was a very adrenaline heavy year, but I proved to myself that I could work for myself and I could start a business. Now, 2022 was just a year of maintaining, also recovering from that burnout, and then finding where does that power really lie. And I am so grateful for 2022 because whoa, it was not the best year. It wasn't the worst year. It wasn't one of those like milestone years, but it was the year that I needed to give myself a break, to cut myself some slack, to give myself more grace and still make progress. Like I just read off some of those things and I'll read some of my personal highlights, but like, had I not done that, I don't think I would have had the year, right? Because I was able to find that balance between being in my masculine and being in my feminine. I would love to do an episode, being in the masculine energy, the constant doing, producing, whatever. Whereas being in the feminine, more go with the flow, creativity, giving yourself grace. And like this year allowed me to find that really great balance because I need to have both. I have some goals. I have this vision. I need to be able to produce and be in that masculine, but I also need to embrace my feminine. And it was interesting because I did a 12 card tarot read with my friend Maria. Some of you guys might know her as Chubby Wubby. She also has her own business, Expansive Experience, and she did a 12 card tarot reading for my 2023. And we also pulled the High Priestess card, which for some of you guys, if you know that in tarot, but for the High Priestess, it's really like embodying that queen energy and knowing when it is time to like push and embrace that masculine, but also know when it's time to like pull back and everything. And there's more to the High Priestess card for sure, but we really had this great conversation about like the way to get through the masculine, the way to get to the masculine energy is through the feminine, right? By intentionally choosing when to be in that masculine. So not to go on too big of a tangent here, but that is really how I felt like my 2022 was when it comes to that theme power, right? I was thinking fiery, like bold, hitting all these milestones, but really it was more this toned down power that I found within of like, we all have this little fire in us, right? Keeping that fire going, right? That fire got dimmed down a little bit. Now it's like bursting, and I was able to do it through some of these things that I created in my life. So I wanted to go through some lessons learned, some personal highlights, things like that. If you have not created a theme word before, I highly recommend it. I think it's like one of the best things you can do. If you don't want to set goals or intentions, at least come up with a word for your year because it helps guide you and it really is something to come back to. So I'll share more of what my year is, but I think it's a nice next step from the year I had in 2022. I did get a new planner. It's from Alexis Raccoon. She's a really amazing artist, and she has this planner that I'm really excited to actually use. And now I can actually start using it, actually. Now that I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I should use that for this week. That would be really helpful. But she also had 2022 reflections in here. She has some like end of month reflections. Like this is everything I've wanted kind of in a planner. I've been so far away from using a planner ever since I used it in college. So I've been trying to find other ways. So I'm going to be using this. I'm going to be using Notion. I'm going to be using my Google Calendar. Like we use a lot of tools over here, but I'm going to read a couple of the things from my 2022 reflections and releases. So some lessons I learned last year to remember. Self-doubt delays what's already yours. Imposter syndrome was pretty big for me this year, and you guys might have heard like if you wouldn't even have the opportunity if you weren't ready, right? So you wouldn't even have the opportunity if you weren't ready has been playing a lot in my head, and that ties in with the self-doubt, right? When we sit here and we're doubting this opportunity that's been given to us, It's delaying our ability to take action and move forward when it's something that's already yours, right? And then also on the flip side, you wouldn't have the opportunity if you weren't ready. You wouldn't even have the desire if you weren't capable, is like another build off of that. You wouldn't have the desire if you weren't capable. And that has also been ringing true. And when we doubt ourselves from that, we're just delaying this process, and we're not trusting the universe, or we're not trusting ourselves that we had this thought, we had this idea for a reason. Why not follow through on it? I also learned this year my intuition knows best. Really tuning into that generator sacral energy this year was like one of the best things I could have done for myself. Another lesson, which ties in with some of that masculine feminine energy that I was talking about, the world is built on masculine energy, and I need to bring in the feminine energy. And to kind of share a little bit more on that, like if you look at the way our day is constructed, time is constructed, all of that was probably constructed by a man. And it was not made for women. Like men have a 24-hour cycle. Women, we have our 25 to 30 day cycle, right? We are just so much different when it comes to our energy. We also, as women, need more sleep. So I already have the masculine energy there by the constructs of our days and times and productivities and like the culture that we've been raised in. And I need to bring in some of that feminine while also honoring that I can bring in and leverage that masculine. And like I said, the way to get to that masculine energy is through the feminine, which my friend Maria shared with me in a book that she in a book that she read to me. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I find that so interesting. Because yeah, a lot of the things that are constructed in our world and society were built by men and they weren't built with women in mind, that we have this different cycle and natural cycles and whatnot. Some other lessons learned: progress is still progress. So give yourself that pat on the back for your growth. I also learned a lot when it comes to my relationship with alcohol. I really opened my eyes this year to that. Some things that I'm grateful that happened in 2022 were quitting alcohol, my IUD removal, my new apartment. I put like things clicking because I felt like things are finally clicking and it's taken a bit. I'm grateful for time to be. I'm grateful for new clients. I'm grateful for finding a new mentor, for treating myself. I'm grateful for the women's retreat I went to last year. I'm grateful for Electric Forest. That was one of my favorite trips last year. I also got this really special brand deal where a whole festival trip was paid for, and that was really amazing and just let me know like, hey, this is possible, which is just insane. Some beautiful things I healed and worked on within and for myself. I worked on my attachment to success and productivity. I worked on my relationship with myself. I worked on not always being on it and not always giving that 100%. I learned how to rest better. I learned that it was okay to just be me. This was a big one when it came to alcohol. Like I really had to accept who I was without alcohol. I've also had to heal, like letting other people be in the masculine for me. When we're so far in that masculine energy, we definitely become hyper independent. And it's hard for me sometimes to let Chase do things because I just know I can do it too in a way. So I really had to let him be that masculine energy and allow him to let me be in my feminine, which can be really hard. But we've been able to navigate that. I've worked on finding balance, and I have also healed and worked on always being on a timeline. I don't know what 2023 is really going to look like. I would usually go into a year and I'm like, we're going to do this festival, we're going to do this trip, blah, 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 blah. I really don't have a timeline. And I think that's also why my goals haven't really quite come together yet for the year, because I'm kind of like, let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens when I come from a place of these qualities or these characteristics. Like I kind of like that idea for 2023. I discovered that my life flows better when I'm having fun. I'm unattached to the results. I'm living my life. I have time for me. I'm creating life moment by moment. That's a big one. I'm doing my daily practices. Let's see, these habits that did not serve me: scrolling, consuming more than creating, sleeping in, staying up late, even though I needed to have that last year, not expressing how I feel, getting reactive, drinking and overindulging, pity partying myself, not taking action. I'm proud of myself for getting myself through, embracing myself, quitting alcohol, experimenting with my business, persevering, growing, feeling my feelings, trying new things. And I forgive myself for overworking because we needed to survive, for being hard on myself because old habits die hard. I forgive myself for not being on top of things we needed to not be for once. And I forgive myself for any mistakes because I'm still learning and growing. And that's just a couple of the things, you know, for my 2022, just to kind of rapid fire a little bit of it. But I think some of the big things were just giving myself grace and letting myself not work as much because I have worked so much since middle school, a long time. I've always been a hard worker. And so I think I really needed this year to not be. And it was really nice. And I really, really appreciate it. I still need to write a letter to say goodbye. And I think tonight feels really good to do that. So I think I want to, write a letter to my past self just to finally let go of 2022. And then I can move into what 2023 is looking like and also start using this planner for some other things. So that is basically my 2022 in a nutshell. I think it's so fascinating, the goals that I set, because here I was thinking like, oh, I didn't do as much. And then I look back at the Google Doc and I'm like, oh, I did that. So yeah, that was my 2022. I wanted to just kind of go over it because maybe some of you guys resonated with some of it. Maybe you got some ideas. Maybe this also helped you if you dealt with something similar this year, or it could also help you if you might deal with it in the future. So I wanted to pull some cards. We're going to do this for, the vibe of the beginning of 2023. We'll do a higher self card, and we'll do an affirmation for our very vibey family. What is the feeling, the energy, whatever it may be for 2023. So let's go ahead and see what comes through. Oh, okay. Affirmation. And then note from your higher self. What is the vibe for 2023? Okay. Okay. Ooh, so the vibe for 2023, an affirmation to come back to is, I am strong enough to face every issue in my life with courage and trust. I am strong enough to face every issue in my life with courage and trust. Whenever you need it, come back to it. I am strong enough to face every issue in my life with courage and trust. Now let's look at the higher self card. The vibe of 2023 is, everything is an oracle if you are paying attention. I think this is so fascinating. So everything is an oracle if you are paying attention. For those that don't know, like an oracle, let me define it, but I'll give you like how I view this. So a priest or priestess acting as a medium through whom advice or prophecy was sought from the gods in classical antiquity. So that was kind of where I was going to go with this. I see this as like everything is a sign, or everything is delivering a message to you if you're paying attention, right? Everything in your life, or everything that happens in a day, can be providing some type of advice, guidance, support, or it can be a sign for something that you might be going through. So it's all about you kind of paying attention to the signs around you, the synchronicities of it all, the things. I'm saying this as it's 444, which means, hello, I'm continue to be divinely supported. We love to see it. But yeah, this year, really pay attention, start to notice some things, and maybe start to find some of the lessons, the guidance, the things that are available to you. Maybe you'll start to see some different repeating things, some angel numbers. Who knows? But I think this is very fascinating and very interesting. So that is the vibe for our 2023. And this was our 2022 recap episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for hearing me out and listening to me. This was more so for me, but I hope you enjoyed it, you know? And it's always nice for you guys to hear my thought process and to like recap things. Of course, there's going to be so much more educational podcasts and things like that. And I definitely want to do guests this year. So there's definitely some fun things to come with the brand. Also, if you are wanting to do dry January, I have started a Discord group. That is another thing I'm doing is dry January. So if you want to participate in that, I will leave a link to the Discord group. If you've never heard of Discord, think of it as just like one big community group chat. It's kind of set up like Slack, if any of you use Slack, but it's a Discord community. We can do different chats in there. We can do video chats, things like that. So I am hosting a dry January challenge. And with this dry January challenge, I'm not looking, you have to tell me every single day that you didn't drink. It's not like that. What it is it's just participation, right? So just popping into the Discord gets you one entry. And then every other action you take, whether it's doing our check-ins, going to the happy hours, things like that, gets you another entry. And at the end of the giveaway, I'm going to do like a fun little non-alcoholic care package to you. So that will get sent to you. And again, this is just a community. This Discord is going to be going on forever. Like it's going to be there as long as women want to vibe in it. You know what I mean? But I wanted to kick it off by doing a dry January challenge. So I'll leave the link for the Discord below. The next thing that's going on, if you want some help figuring out what the heck you want to do in your 2023, I'm hosting a 2-day vision board workshop for 2023. Last year we did 1 day. This year we're doing 2 days. The first day we're talking all about your vision. The second day we're talking about how to actually take action on that vision. So I will also leave the link down below. That will be in the pre-sale phase. So just for $11, you can join us for that 2-day masterclass. It's going to be going on January 17th through the 18th at 7 o'clock Central. That time might change, but that time's feeling really good to me. So if you really want to come learn how to create a vision board and then figure out how you're going to take action on it, that is all for you. Otherwise, there's going to be some other exciting announcements with programs, things like that. I believe I do have also one-on-one coaching spot open from January to March. If you are interested in working together this year one-on-one and really creating your fulfilling 2023, I am here for you. I will leave that application down below, or you can reach out to me on Instagram if you have any questions. But I want to thank you so much for being here today. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, all the things. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.